Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a look at the future of unmanned military combat and other technological warfare innovations. Also tonight, new research shows how treating sleep apnea can reduce the risk of Parkinson's disease. And a local lutherie celebrates 50 years of crafting guitars and teaching guitar making as a trade. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Ukraine's use of remote-controlled drones has been a major factor in the country's defense against Russian military forces. Indeed, just the other night, nearly 300 Ukrainian drones struck targets across Russia, including Moscow, shutting down that city's major airports. Drone technology and other innovations are changing the nature of warfare. And joining us now is Daniel Rothenberger, co-director at ASU's Future Security Initiative. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Ted.
Okay, so, I mean, it seems like drones are the next thing. You've got your bow and arrow, you got your airplanes, you got all these innovations that come and go in the history of war. A special chapter now for drones as well?
Sure. Drones are changing certain aspects of the character of warfare. Some of that is new, some of it isn't so new. But they do sort of two things that are worth focusing on. One is they provide intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities so they can see things. They can loiter, they can provide information in real time, and they also can deliver munitions, often precision munitions. And in Ukraine, there's a lot of kamikaze drones used.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the drones themselves. First of all, describe a drone in general, and military use drones, do they differ from what you can go get at the supermarket or wherever, the electronics store?
So it depends on the drone. You know, the U.S. used drones pretty extensively in the post-9/11 wars. Drones became probably the military technology that's most associated, if we can remember, of the Bush and particular Obama administrations. But a drone isn't really one thing. We're talking about something that it doesn't have a human inside it, right? So it doesn't have that risk. And in some cases, maybe the big concern or the big interest is the ways they can be autonomous, which isn't really how they're used now so much, but that's where things are going.
So compare the size then to a consumer drone. I mean, are they the same size? Are they basically the same thing?
Well, the U.S. drones that were so widely used in Afghanistan and Iraq are pretty big, and they do all sorts of things, and they cost a lot of money to create and a lot of money to run. But a lot of the drones being used in Ukraine are sort of off-the-shelf drones that are adjusted to be used in combat.
And how far can they fly?
Depends on the drone.
Right.
So some U.S. drones can fly very far, and they can loiter for long periods of time and gather real-time information, over 24 hours, say, of a site. But we'll think for a second, Ukraine is on track to produce 4 million drones this year. And the U.S., on the other hand, producing much more expensive and bigger drones is going to produce 50 to 100,000.
Yeah, and the bigger drones and the U.S. drones, I'm interested in those, but I'm really interested in what Ukraine is doing with what seems to be just off-the-shelf kind of drones here. How accurate are they? I mean, with remote control, I mean, at a certain distance, do they lose accuracy? How does that work?
So there's all sorts of new, war creates a lot of innovation, and drones are a good example. And so one of the issues about drones is how do you control them?
Yes.
Do you control them remotely through radio control, which can be jammed? And one of the things that's happened in Ukraine is actually to fly drones that have little microfibers that attach physically from the drone operator to where the drone is being used to drop munitions or to operate in a kamikaze fashion. So technology is evolving all the time, but what we see in Ukraine is really rapid changing of lots of small drones that are quite inexpensive.
Yeah, because I think that, as I mentioned, 300 the other night all across Russia, and Russia says it shot down most of them. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of stuff being shot down, but it seems like Ukraine just keeps coming and coming with these things.
Yeah, well, Russia's using drones too. There's drones all over the battlefield. One thing we've seen in Ukraine is that drones are one of the primary ways to take out tanks. So these relatively inexpensive small things blow up relatively expensive big things.
How much munitions can they handle?
It depends on the size of the drone.
Right.
So the U.S. drones have sophisticated missiles like Hellfire missiles, whereas the least sophisticated drones will have very small amounts of munitions that can kill individual soldiers. And you can actually go online and watch pretty disturbing video of drones targeting individual soldiers that are released actually by both sides of the conflict.
I was going to say, because again, looking at Ukraine, these things don't look very big. They don't look, they're flying very fast, but they're flying very far, but they're making explosions. And I wonder what the limit on that would be.
Well, there's all kinds. I think what we're seeing in drones right now and drones in the future, and it isn't just drones, it's all sorts of new military technologies that are rapidly evolving, that are going to be using more and more AI, that are going to be involved in all kinds of networked attacks, swarms of drones, all sorts of new things that will change the character of warfare. And they're already changing.
Yeah, you mentioned swarms of drones. Very interested in that as well, because I've seen video of these things fly. It's like birds, it's like birds flying south for the winter or something like that. Just swarms and swarms of these drones. Is that the next thing? I mean,
one of the next things.
Yeah.
So we're going to see also. There's all sorts of plans to have drones go hand in hand with fighter jets. And so you'll have a piloted jet alongside maybe dozens or even hundreds of drones. You have drones in the water. I mean, one of the most extraordinary aspects of the Ukraine-Russian conflict is how this country, Ukraine, which doesn't really have a navy, has pretty much taken out Russia's substantial navy with ocean-based drones.
So if you're defending against these drones, I'm kind of sticking with drones because it seems like there's such a factor in the Ukraine, in this war over there. You're defending against drones. How do you do it? What's the best strategy?
That's a good question. So there's a huge amount of research going into different sort of defense against drones. One thing we see sometimes is a huge disparity between the cost of taking drones down with, say, very expensive missile systems and the cost of putting up a drone. So it shows a difference. But you can take them down by jamming communications. You can take them down with other sorts of drones. You can take them down by things that mask their ability to find their targets.
I was going to ask about jamming communications, because that seems like that would be a way to do this, provided you know what the communications are.
Right.
Yeah.
So it works.
Is AI going to be a bigger factor in all? Are these things going to be able to do things on their own without being remotely controlled? I mean, obviously the answer is yes, but I mean, to what degree?
Well, we don't know the degree. So autonomous weapons are a whole new area. We don't have a lot of autonomous weapons out there, although we have some autonomous defensive weapons that are currently deployed by the U.S. and others. But of course, autonomy is going to be a huge aspect of where warfare is going. And maybe as we see the costs go down, as with drones, we'll see all sorts of smaller non-state actors being able to field autonomous weapons of different kinds, which take us in places.
I was going to say, as a terrorist weapon, this thing is like almost custom built.
Well, yes.
Something to worry about, I guess.
Something to worry about. Yeah.
So, as a historian of war and an expert here, what worries you the most about all this?
Well, the one thing we know of people who try to plan for the future of war and conflict tend to be wrong. That's what studies often show. Yeah. And a lot of preparation tends to be for the last war, as is commonly said. So I think the big worry is that we will be so wrapped up in something that's incorrect that our resources will focus on an issue. We won't be flexible and resilient enough to be prepared for what's really coming.
Yeah, we'll be zigging when someone else zags, huh?
Yeah.
Daniel Rothenberger, Future Security Initiative there at ASU. Good stuff. Good to have you here.
Thank you so much.
I'm a woman alone, newly arrived in a dangerous town.
We both know why you're here. Darling, you can't bring Janie back.
But I can't stop him doing it again.
I have never confessed to the crime you want me to be guilty of.
I've come halfway around the world to make sure that you never get out of here alive.
Why do you think you can just run off on your own?
Because I'm carrying a gun.
Saturday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
Austin City Limits presents Jon Batiste.
Saturday at 11 on Arizona PBS.
A new study is showing a connection between sleep apnea and Parkinson's disease. The research specifically found that treating sleep apnea is linked to a reduced likelihood of developing Parkinson's. And to learn more, we welcome Dr. David Sprecher. He's the Senior Movement Disorders Director at the Banner Sun Health Research Institute. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
You betcha. So this is basically, we know now, do we know that sleep apnea is linked to Parkinson's?
So this is the first study that has shown a strong association in people who have sleep apnea, then later going on to develop Parkinson's disease.
And this is obstructive sleep apnea, correct?
Yes, obstructive sleep apnea.
Define that.
So this is a problem where as we start to fall into deeper stages of sleep, the muscles in the back of the throat start to relax too much and actually cut off our air supply. And we start to wake up into a lighter stage of sleep in order to continue breathing. So it really disrupts that deep stage of sleep that we need to get refreshed in the morning.
Compare sleep apnea, these are probably basic questions for a lot of folks, but I'm just curious. Compare sleep apnea to snoring.
So snoring is not always sleep apnea, and many people with sleep apnea do snore. So snoring is, many of us wake ourselves up, or more often our bed partners, making these noises as the muscles in the throat relax somewhat. But with sleep apnea, you actually stop breathing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you gasp.
And you could be lying on your side, on your back. I mean, does it make any difference with sleep apnea?
It's a good question. People with sleep apnea are more apt to stop breathing when they're laying on their back.
Yes, that would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Okay, and so basically what, the neurons are just, they get all jumbled up here? What's going on with sleep apnea in the brain?
So, it's an important question because we already know that sleep apnea increases blood pressure. People are more prone to heart attacks, stroke, dying earlier than they would if they didn't treat it. But now we know that when we're deep asleep, there's this circulation, just like we have a lymphatic system that clears fluid from the body, there's a glymphatic system that clears toxins and proteins that need to be recycled out of the brain. When you don't get deep sleep, that system can't clean out those toxins. And they can build up in the brain and cause things like Alzheimer's disease or Parkinson's.
Wow, they're just not functioning at a normal level.
Not clearing out the trash.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so now we come to treating sleep apnea and CPAP. What is CPAP?
Yeah, so CPAP basically applies pressure into the back of the throat to help prevent those muscles from relaxing fully, so you're less likely to stop breathing. You're able to stay in that deeper stage of refreshing sleep.
And I've seen photos. I mean, it's basically, it's like a mask and a hose, and how do people sleep with that?
So it can be a challenge. So it's important when people are first fitted with these devices that they follow up if they're not tolerating it.
Yeah.
The settings have to be gradually adjusted so people get used to it.
Okay, and the study itself looked at, what I got here, 11 million plus military veterans that were getting treatment through the VA. How did that work? What was going on there?
So there's a huge opportunity through the VA health system because we have a large number of veterans. All their data is tracked for many, many years in a computer system. So we had a smaller number of people, less than 100,000, that had been diagnosed with sleep apnea. And then our colleagues at Oregon Health Sciences at the VA in Portland were able to analyze that information and find that as they looked at people with sleep apnea, they were more likely within 5 years to then go on to develop Parkinson's.
Interesting. Now, as far as the CPAP, though, what did the research show among those who were using CPAP?
So interesting thing is if they started treating the sleep apnea, CPAP is one of the main treatments, then it started within 2 years, the risk of developing Parkinson's actually decreased.
Wow.
So it suggests that earlier treatment, along with preventing heart attack and stroke, potentially even Alzheimer's, also may prevent Parkinson's.
You mentioned CPAP among other treatments. What are the other treatments?
Yeah, so it's important if people don't tolerate the mask, and they've really tried everything they can to do so, that they ask about either a dental device, which is usually the next step. It basically pulls the lower jaw forward. Usually it's an orthodontist that fits you for that, and it can actually be charged to insurance, to medical insurance. And if people don't tolerate any of that, if they're overweight, losing weight can improve the sleep apnea to some degree, but if it's severe, then there's an alternative option in some select cases of implanting. It's a device that's implanted under the skin, actually stimulates the nerve at the base of the tongue to prevent the muscles in your throat from relaxing while you're asleep.
Wow. Talk about a brave new world. Holy smokes. CPAP covered by insurance?
Yes.
Okay. And the dental thing you think could be covered by?
As long as there's a diagnosis of sleep apnea that's documented, that dental device can be covered by insurance. And the surgery, this implanted device called the Inspire device, placed by a surgeon, can also be covered.
Okay. Are there concerns about availability? Because again, all this stuff sounds great, but some folks out there, and they're probably going to see even more health cost concerns, is with insurance, this is affordable, this is doable?
Yes, this is one of the most widely available, and there are sleep specialists throughout the country that really focus on treating sleep apnea. It's more that people put it off. People decide, oh, I can't be me, or they don't think that they're likely to have it. But the risk of having it actually goes up as we get older and as we gain weight.
So again, CPAP's no guarantee, or any of these things are no guarantee of not getting Parkinson's, but it certainly cuts the risk according to this study, huh?
Potentially reduces the risk. It's important I think the key finding is it's important not just for heart health or to prevent risks of stroke or death, but also for brain health.
Yeah, well, very good. Dr. David Sprecher, again, Banner Sun Health Research Institute, talking about this link, sleep apnea and Parkinson's. My goodness, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everyone's so happy you're home, darling.
Come inside.
It's just so exciting.
It's a real treat.
What an amazing family.
Let's get this show on the road!
That sounds like a party.
Marvelous.
Will I get presents?
Oh, I love this!
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, the Senate fails to pass a measure to stop a spike in health care costs under the Affordable Care Act. That's at 6 on Arizona PBS.
The Roberto Venn School of Lutherie is celebrating its 50th anniversary. It's the longest-running Lutherie in North America, and to help honor the school and its history, some 50 acclaimed graduates are each invited to create an all-new instrument made of rare Nicaraguan rosewood and mahogany. William Eaton is the founder and director of the Roberto Venn School of Lutherie. He joins us now alongside 4 guitars that were built at the school. I got to tell you, just looking at these guitars, it's just fascinating. I love the look. And this is your life right here, isn't it?
We are awe-inspired by these instruments, Ted. These come from some of the major companies that make guitars. This one is made by Fender, the largest company in the world, made all out of rosewood. Like the George Harrison model made in 1970, our graduate Paul Waller made this.
Wow.
He's a master custom builder for Fender, all rosewood, Nicaraguan rosewood. Hey, this one, Les Paul, iconic guitar.
Yeah, rosewood obviously is the key here. I want to get to that in a second. But a luthier, what is a luthiery? What happens at a luthiery?
Well, a luthier, or luthier, is a person who builds or repairs stringed instruments. At our school, we teach our students, we have over 3,000 graduates, to make and repair guitars. They build 2 project instruments while they're there, and then they go on to work for major companies, small companies, start their own business.
50 years ago, this got started. What got you into this?
I fell into this serendipitously. My partner, John Roberts, was in Nicaragua, was going to build a boat. He gathers a bunch of this Nicaraguan rosewood.
Yeah.
And the Mosquito Indians helped him, natives of that region. His boat builder runs off. He doesn't know what to do with all this wood. He ships it to Phoenix. It arrives here. He starts an import hardwood business. 2 guitar makers meet him, say, this is perfect wood for making guitars. This is what the wood looks like now after being here since 1960. And so John falls into guitar making. I built a guitar with him in 1971, Juan Roberto Guitar Works. And then I go on to Stanford Business School. I thought I was heading for a career in business.
Yeah.
I wrote a business plan on a guitar making school. I sent that to John and Bob Venn, who had come into partnership with John, and we started in 1975.
Yeah, and here you are 50 years later.
50 years later.
When you're building a guitar and when your students are building a guitar, obviously the rosewood, you've got the materials, you know what you're doing. But as you're building it, can you tell if it's special? Can you tell if, I don't know, I'm going to have to kind of tweak something? Can you tell you're working on something special? Or do you have to wait until everything's strung and everything's done before you hear it and know what's going on?
Well, you get an intimate relationship with the wood.
Yes.
You understand all the different properties of what different woods will do to an instrument, and the selection is according to what kind of instrument you want to make, acoustic or electric, the sound that you want. And right from the start, it becomes special.
Yeah.
Just for that relationship and the time spent in the present working on it.
And that top wood is a big deal, isn't
Yes.
it? That's what kind of makes the difference?
For an acoustic guitar, the top is considered the most important part, but backs and sides. This guitar, for example, and that one both have the Nicaraguan rosewood.
Yeah.
Has the sapwood in it and just beautiful stuff. This is made by Taylor Guitars, Bob Taylor, who founded the company in 1972.
Yes.
Personally designed this for this anniversary, put it in the label inside and 50th anniversary. So
I mean, the top wood there, that's absolutely gorgeous. Can you play a little bit with that?
yeah, you need to hear this.
Yeah.
This is such a beautiful sounding guitar.
That is gorgeous and great playing there, by the way. It seems like you've been around guitars a little bit, I can tell.
I've been playing for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Now, again, rosewood and like a full mahogany guitar, very different sounds, don't they?
Yes. Beautiful sounding. You know, mahogany has its own characteristics, just like rosewood does.
Yeah.
My third instrument was all mahogany. So along with this Nicaraguan rosewood, big gambas come out of the jungle that are parts of the roots of mahogany trees, and we've made a lot of guitars out of mahogany.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, the 50th anniversary, we talked about 50th anniversary, 50 different of your graduates, 50 graduates, acclaimed guitar makers, they all came up with their own guitar?
Yes, and of course I brought these because a lot of your viewers play a Fender, Gibson, Taylor guitars. Paul Reed Smith personally designed the instrument for Paul Reed Smith, famous, iconic builder. So all the major companies are making these guitars, but mostly our graduates did the work.
Yeah.
So they hire our graduates. That's our primary mission, Ted, as a school, is to prepare these students to go into the profession. So they get jobs with these major companies. I brought this one here.
This one here?
Well, this is a Gibson
Yes.
Les Paul shape. The tops are all the rosewood. That guitar next to you,
Yes.
Built by John Reuter. John has been our director of training, and he's been with us for 40 years. It's a beautiful instrument, sounds beautiful. I brought that because it represents the custom builders that graduate from our school. And we have guitar makers now that are selling guitars from $20,000 to $60,000.
Wow, they can go for that much?
Yes, and you know, I was going to grab one of Jason's and bring it too. He took it home. These all go to the NAMM show, by the way, in January. So we're excited about that.
And didn't MIM have these on? Were these displayed?
We did a special concert at the MIM.
Yeah.
And I brought on 11 guitarists, and we played 30 of the guitars.
Wow.
Through the course of 2 sets.
What's next for the school? I mean, you got your first 50 years behind you. What's next?
We're talking about having some of this wood 50 years from now for the 100th, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have lots of things. I tell you, this guitar making school has operated on the premise of students come make an acoustic and electric. And that's been our go-to all these years, and we try to improve every time. And the thing that brings the most joy to us is see the expression on our students' face. They finish the guitar, string it up with a big smile on their face. And I will say it transforms them. They're spending time in this moment right now, in this present moment. And it develops character. And and these days, to be in this moment now, it's the grace of the building process.
Real quickly, where can we learn more?
RobertoVenn.com.
With a dash on Roberto and Venn?
Yes, Roberto-Venn.com.
All right. Well, congratulations, William.
Thanks,
this
Ted.
must be a very rewarding career, and to look at these things and know that you had a part, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. We
Honored to be
appreciate
on
it.
your show. Thanks,
Thank you. And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Want to be more informed? Arizona PBS delivers news and analysis with multiple perspectives, thanks to financial support from you and...
You play flutes and people seem to connect to that sound. It creates community. It's truly magical.
Coming up tonight at 7. At 7:30. At 8.
Do you own an IRA or other qualified retirement plan? Are you looking for a tax-wise strategy to support the shows you love on Arizona PBS? If so, consider making a qualified charitable distribution directly from your IRA. A charitable IRA rollover gift has several significant tax advantages, allowing taxpayers aged 70